Talk to the people.
Assalamualaikum, peace. Hey guys, everybody out there in TV land. No, I'm just playing. Assalamualaikum, peace. It's Coach Nyla. If you guys don't know, of course.
Coach Fatimah.
Coach Nazir. And we are excited about this live cast. But while we are getting everything, is that good? While we're getting everything set up and together and all that other good stuff, let us know where you guys are watching us from. Yeah, let us know where you be when you are. We like seeing that. And yeah. How's the weather where you are?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's crazy because I'm looking where we are, and I guess it rained. So, you know, I like the breeze that comes from it, but it's really interesting.
Yeah,
so I think, yeah, we needed that. It was hot.
You have your phone?
Super duper hot.
Yeah. So I can grab
All right, everybody, here's the deal. Depending on where you are viewing from, it may not last that long because we're broadcasted from our private community for our community members, and we're going to get into some talk that we don't want to have on social media. All right, because we created a safe space. Maybe you have seen, maybe you haven't, our invitations to join us in our private community. If not, you can go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/invitation to view an invitation we put together for you, get some details and stuff like that, because we are broadcasting there. So we're going to cut off of YouTube, Facebook, and IG, probably maybe 15, 20 minutes or so, may take a couple of questions. Say, hey, let us know where you're chiming in from. All right. Eid Mubarak for those of you who are celebrating Eid on this second beautiful day of Eid al-Adha. All right. So let us know where you at, what state you in, what country you in, time zone. Send us your Eid greetings. We are paying attention to everything here. But again, we are going to be on social media just for a short time and only broadcast to those who've taken the time to pretty much, register for our community so that we can have our own personal private locker room talk. It's what I call an anti-troll bovine excrement free zone. So for those of you who do not know me, I am Coach Nazir. I am married to these two incredible ladies by my side. I practice a form of marriage called polygyny. It's an ancient form of marriage where a man is married to multiple wives, and I have 2 wives. All right, so don't be like, how many wives you got? 4? Just 2 wives. And no, we don't stay in the same house, but we are in the same house right now doing this live cast. So we want to get those easy questions out the way right away.
Yeah. And with all that being said, people still will ask, are Coach Nyla and I married? And we're not. We're married to Coach Nazir. Y'all, put your listening ears on. Let me see what.
So let us know where you're chiming in from. Feel free to share the info. Again, we're going to be with everyone here collectively. So if you're viewing us on social media, just know we won't be here with you that long, maybe 15, 20 minutes or so before we go exclusively to our private community. And again, you can access that outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/invitation. Click on the link. It'll send you right there. You can sign up with your email address and be good to go.
I'm sharing because sharing is caring.
Right, and who should know? Us. I'm trying to see where it's from.
Can you see that? I'm logging here to see this. So we got to mute this real quick. We'll go crazy. All right. Wait. All right. There you go. All right. So if you could hear us and everything's good, give us a little thumbs up in the whatever format you in the chats. So we got Mima from Nairobi checking in. Africa in the house. We got Elias Israel. Shalom, salam, shalom, peace, and blessings to you as well. We got Lagos. Like Legos, like playing with Legos. Okay. I ain't tripping. Okay, yeah. See, here's the other thing too. I'm noticing as I'm looking on the stream. The stream looks crazy. It's real crazy.
Oh, that looks wow. Let's fix it.
Change the connection over there. So I might just go ahead and do that. But change the private community one looks pretty nice though, I may say, if I have to say so myself. Talia chiming in from Dearborn, Michigan.
Hey.
All right, Hajit from the Gambia, Africa, representing the day. That's what's up. All right. So again, I'm Coach Nazir, one of the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships. Introduce yourselves, ladies. Let's start.
Coach Fatimah.
Oh.
I'm here. All right. I'm Coach Nazir.
I'm Coach Fatimah, his wife.
And I'm Coach Nyla. I am also his wife.
I'm the wife with the bad memory. So I'm used to Coach Nyla going first and then I follow. So that messed me off. It reversed it. So yes.
All right. So here's the deal. All right, Dr. Paul Beasley, appreciate you. Let me know you got the audio. We good to go. All right. Good stuff.
See you in the community.
Yeah, we growing our community. It's a growing small community, and we're going to be closing our Facebook group, one of the Facebook groups that we have that we're streaming from right now by the end of this month. So if you're still part of it, just know it will be no more. Facebook groups are dead. And, you know, again, social media, it is what it is. And we prefer our own private community nevertheless. So a couple of things. When it comes to polygyny in particular, there are a lot of common questions that we get. So we want to address some of these common questions, but also talk a little bit more about why the need for this space. Because sometimes I get the, you know what, this shouldn't be talked about. This should only be talked about with imams or sheikhs and stuff like that. And because, you know, this is a painful topic or blah, blah, this is marriage. So, you know, why are we putting it out there? And other people who don't watch the videos, they look at the title and judge it. Like, why are you talking about your personal marriage and personal business? This is, you know, that's haram or something like that. Like, we're educators, you know what I'm saying? And we're not sharing explicit or personal information going outside the bounds. And of course, if you're not going to learn it, and our religious leaders in particular are letting us down, I don't care if you're talking about a pastor, a reverend, a minister, an imam, a priest, a rabbi, whatever it may be, one of the topics you will less likely hear about in an open forum where you can discuss it and be real about it is usually at your place of worship. All right, so that is what it is. It's neither here nor there, but the fact of the matter is we aren't getting good education on how to practically be involved in a polygynous relationship so that the different dynamics are addressed in a fashion that is helpful. Okay, it's one thing to go ahead and get the rules on things, but it's another thing to be able to function. All right, that's one of the reasons people get premarital counseling, you know, at least for those who are serious about marriage. So Gambia, we got Uganda in the house. And UAE, you know, I could be, you know, here, I'll share this. Matter of fact, I'll have to make a banner. Anyway, somebody will take over because I need to do a couple of stuff. So how was in Nigeria, but in the UAE for now? She's not married yet. Definitely appreciates the work here. Let me just put on screen. Appreciate you, sis. I'm Hawakulu, Nigerian, but in UAE for now, not married yet. Just want to appreciate you guys for the good work. May Allah Ta'ala reward you guys. Ameen. Allahumma ameen. All right, so if you have some specific questions, you can put question marks before your question so we can find it easily as we go through the comment section. And again, maybe 15 minutes for the public. So if you're watching on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, go to the link that's in the post you clicked on to join this video. And there should be a link. It's either a tiny URL link or it's a link that says outstandingpersonalrelationships.com/invitation. So you can get the link to join us in our private live cast once we end with the public and we can focus on one camera instead of the several that are in front of us right now.
Yes, so definitely question marks before your questions so we can get to them. And we do want to welcome our community members and congratulate you guys for joining the community and all that other great stuff. you're active in there, seeing that we've been in there pretty much every single day, posting things, answering your questions, looking at the comments and the information that you guys are posting too. It's so great to see the activity in there, and that you're not just there as watchers, voyeurs, or whatever the case may be, that you guys are actually actively participating in the community. It's a great thing to see. So, alhamdulillah. Praise the Lord. Hey, Spain.
If you had a question,
So, how many of you are practicing polygyny? I like to ask you that question. If you are already practicing polygyny, or if you are looking to practice polygyny, I mean, I'm assuming that's why some of you are here, to get that education, or maybe to try to make it a little bit better. So let us know that. And before we go any further, YouTube and Facebook will see our that a little bit more in detail as well. And we are back on YouTube and Facebook. All right, so one of the questions that is pretty common, that's for the ladies, is what's going on? Alexis, how you be? Currently practicing, we see you. Good stuff. Thank you for being proactive and investing in your education. One of the things that's a pretty common thread that you hear quite often is jealousy. Jealousy, sharing challenges with that. Can y'all address or speak on that a little bit?
I think we train on this too, and then we counsel and coach on it. But what we've learned is a lot about what we needed to unlearn. And one of those things is about that word sharing and the meaning in which you give it. Because in the West, it's a mine thing. It's my body, it's my this, it's my child, it's my husband, it's, and I'm telling you, it was on Judge Judy episode. His mom came in here and said, "This is my child." And the father of that child was in the courtroom. She said, "Wait a minute. It's not just your child. You share certain responsibilities as parents, so we can't take away." So the meaning that she was, and people were surprised, like, "Well, yeah, but that's the mom." She's like, "Yeah, but that's the father. So we can't, the child is not more yours than this and that." But we learn that, the child belongs to the mom. So I get to take it where I want to and not say anything. And I get that in some cases you got to do what you got to do. But this man was active and trying, and that woman moved that child to a whole other state without his knowledge. So I said, well, what kind of meaning do we give, or what kind of power do we give the word share? Because we are attaching some ownership to saying the word mine when we're dealing with someone that is an adult. It's a man, that's a husband, that's a leader, and we get to say, "Oh no, that's my husband. He belongs to me," because when you get married, you're one, and nothing must come along and disturb that because he's mine. And I'm like, you're a part of his life, a huge part of his life, and you're someone's wife, of course. So I don't want to diminish that. However, we have to be very careful about the ownership part that some people place within marriage. Like our husbands are not adults and they don't have their own decisions to make, without us saying, "Well, you can't do that." So we're not here to son anyone other than our sons, and not try to sit up and raise our husbands. So yeah, share. I had to personally go, wait a minute. And mine? Nope.
It's funny too that you talked about that, because I did a video and it talked about the pain of sharing. And I kind of got some interesting comments on that too. But I talked about that, like what Coach Fatimah what she said, we have what we associate that word with. And when I started to think about the sharing part, or using that word sharing, when you share something, that means that, once again, she talked about, this is your possession, and then you're allowing somebody to borrow something until you get it back. And I was thinking about that, and I talk about toddlers and that whole thing about sharing, and how toddlers have this pain of sharing because they don't understand the part of that, okay, this is like, this is my thing, and now I don't have it anymore, and now it's not mine anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, it's not mine anymore, or I may get it back broken, or whatever the case may be. So I was like, it's not the point of sharing, because you're not, you don't possess this person. However, that was another thing when people talk about that. It was like, oh, it's like sharing your favorite piece of cake, and don't nobody want to share their favorite piece of cake. Oh, that's true. No one wants to share it, and you don't share it. You split it, because if you're sharing something, you're going to get it back. So how are you going to get back a piece of cake that you gave to somebody else? They don't throw it up and give it to you. So you're not sharing that. So that whole thing of knowing what the meanings are, and being able to say, you know what, okay, it's not even that you are splitting anything with him. He's actually splitting this time with you, with you and his other wife. I'm talking to the women out there, of course. So that's the thing. But so just having that mindset, and just the knowledge of the meanings that you put on the words of that, because even with that comes that idea of being possessive. And I've known, and we've seen it, where we see the comments are like, I'm so possessive, I'm so jealous, because but when we're possessive, that means that this is a possession of ours, right? If you're possessive of something, that means that you possess the thing, and that this person is your possession. We're no one's possessions. We don't have that. So being able to be emotionally mature, and we all have our times when we, lack on our emotional maturity, right. But being emotionally mature, being what's the word I'm looking for? Being intentional with it, and saying, you know what, I want a great relationship. I want a great marriage. I want this thing. So what are the things that are causing issues in that? And a lot of times it is the jealousies, and the jealousies usually come from insecurities. If we start to really call it what it really is, then we can actually move forward on increasing fulfillment and being better in how we handle a lot of the things in our relationships. And that includes jealousy and feeling like we possess something and we are sharing something that we really don't want to share.
But jealousy is a natural thing anyway.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't necessarily have to stem from insecurity. It's just a part of our human nature.
Yeah, well, kind of. I know it's part of our human nature, but if it's part of our human nature, I don't know. But I still feel that it's still the insecurity. And what I mean by insecurity is, like, we do see certain things where it's like, okay, I will like this, or I would like, even in people, like and it's not always of what they have, but the experience or the feeling that they have. So it's not about it's a difference. And I look at certain things where there's a difference between jealousy and a difference between envy. Sometimes jealousy can be a motivator because you would like to experience these certain things or have these certain things, but you don't want to take it away from someone else. So, it's natural stuff, but it's natural to want to be better. It's natural to want to be more or have more. So that lacking part can come to mind, and
it's kind of like, that's I think jealousy and envy hit women differently and different ways than it does men. But I'm like, we jealous, but it's natural for us to be jealous. And I'm like, how are we handling it? How are we managing that jealousy that we feel? So it's not abnormal to feel it, but at the same time, we gotta check ourselves and hold ourselves accountable for how we're handling or reacting to it. So we shouldn't respond. It's about response versus reaction, but yeah, it's something that's natural to us. But I'm like, you can be jealous, but then we're not tearing up the house. Like, I've seen this thing where the women will go, I was so mad and jealous, I tore our home up. Like, tearing your house up. Now that's a better way to handle it. And then when your husband get mad, say, "Look, I'm done." He has every right to say, "I'm done," because I'm not going. I don't know when you're gonna do this again. So yeah, you have it, but the response to it and the, how we handle it is so important.
Any other?
Yeah, there's a few on for it. All right, Barry Magazali lets us know she is from, gives even Bardic and Salons from Sunnyvale, Cali. What's up? You see, Miriam Agbaje. Shouldn't even probably try to pronounce that. Apologize if I got it wrong. Says she states that, what she said, I'm not even married, but a single man approached me recently telling me he has a strong interest in polygyny. I had to understand this topic better, and that's how I stumbled on your page.
Intentional, hey.
Be proactive, indeed. All right, so this is also another common question Aisha says. She says, how do you manage to deal with the many thoughts of, for example, who he loves most or spending the most on, and so on and so forth?
Okay. Well, you know what? I think about, as parents, you're seeing 3 parents here, we co-parent, we parent, and we have many children in this family. We love them all at the same time, and we don't measure it by levels of love. It's just that they know, we know. We experience loving our children all at the same time. I don't look at one child and go, I love you more than I love this child. And then tomorrow I'm gonna love you more than your sister, and then I'm gonna get back over here to you. So if we think about how we love our parents, if we think about how we love our children, if we think about how we love each other, it's almost like my mind doesn't go into measurements because of time or because of history or whatever the case may be. It's not like that. For me, especially, I could say that for myself, being a mother of, more than one child. I love them more children than just one at a time. And just because my oldest daughter is this age and my 9-year-old is 9, and there's all these years in between them, I don't say, well, you the 20-some-year-old, I love you with this intensity, but this 9-year-old better catch up. Don't do that. So I think it's very similar with men in polygyny. I'm sure Coach Nazir can shed some light on this, because again, I'm not a husband in polygyny. I don't have that to deal with, but I do know people have asked me, well, don't he love you more? And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. I don't look at it that way. I just go, we're married people, and he has more than one wife, and he loves us at the same time. Like it can happen simultaneously.
I think one of the things, kind of shooting from the hip, I guess, so to speak, is getting out our own ego and minding our marriage. It's not always an easy thing for it not to cross your mind. If you see something that may trigger something, they'll be like, wait a minute, he did that, maybe he did, but you don't know everything. You're not in, comparison is a thief of joy. So when you're too busy focusing on what he's not doing, what he may be doing with this person and not with you and things like that, that's where the issues lie, and that's where a lot of the insecurities could come from, and a lot of the what ifs and that type of thing, because it comes to the point of that ego, the ego getting in the way. So, and not minding your marriage. So when you mind your marriage, you're focusing on how you can make it more fulfilling, how you can make it more better, better. So those type of things. And when you are so focused on something, that's that whole thing. Think about focus, follow one course to successful. If you're focused on a particular thing, the other things that happen around you, you don't even pay attention to, because you're so focused on working on this goal or working on this outcome. So if you have those things that you are dwelling on, because like I said, you can have times where it may cross your mind or certain things like that, because you have Shaitan or the devil or whoever you want to call him in your ear and want to break up your marriage and make you mad at each other and all these other things like that. But if you're consistently dwelling on it and you let him win, it's because of not minding your marriage and being intentional and letting that ego get in the way. So how do you not? Then it's like focus more on you and focus more on your marriage than you are on, you know, somebody else's, because you can't control theirs, change theirs, but you can work on yours. Hopefully that makes sense.
I'm gonna chime in a little bit here as well, because this is how I think about it. We're human, okay? So the thoughts are normal and natural. The challenge is how you choose to deal with it. That's really the crux of the questions. Like, oh, how do you not worry about this? Of course, minding your marriage, understanding your value, all of the types of things, because here's the fact, there's 7 billion people on the earth, okay? So when she talks about ego and when she's talking about, you know, not paying attention, how do you measure these types of things? That's really the thing, because you know, there's no measurement tool that can say, oh, I love this person more, I measure this, but there's no tool there. The only thing you have is your feeling, okay? And our feelings can lead us one way or another. They say love is blind, or it's anger. All these emotions can lead us one way to these feelings and these habits and these ruts, or on a whole different level. Where so it'll go, our energy will go where we focus it at. So instead of that, if you focus on being the best you and focus on your marriage, that's there. You know why? Because even if a man is not married to someone else, you might be worried about who he with at work. You didn't see the video, the viral video of the girl that made her boyfriend during his whole shift. She was so jealous, and in her mind, whatever issue she had going on, the 12 hours, a shift and a half, she had him on his live, so she knew where he was. That's not a problem with him. You know what I'm saying? That's the issue inside that person, whatever insecurities and fears and challenges and deep down traumas and pain that they have that's being projected outward. Because there are plenty of women, there's gonna be women that look better than you. Men already knows men look better than us, got more than us, all that, because this is called planet Earth. There's a whole lot of us here. You know what I'm saying? So if we're constantly worried about what others are doing, then we are losing ourselves and the ability to grow and become better. So anyway, just want to add that quickly, prayerfully. You got something there. Now, Dope Law, let me answer your question. I just joined the community on the website. We all be going live on the website. We live now. This is the camera for our community. This is where we're going to be for everybody in about probably 10, 15 minutes as we shutting off this right here, which is Facebook and YouTube, and that right there, which is IG. So we're going to be out in a minute, and we only going to be in our community. We're going to continue discussion there. So if you want to join that discussion, you can join it. It's free. It's not a problem. Go to outstandingpersonrelationships.com/invitation. That's going across your screen. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, on the bottom, you go to that URL, get your email, boom, go in there. We broadcasting it live right now from a better camera. The angle that we have there is better than what you're seeing right now. It look a little fuzzy a little bit, at least from what I'm seeing. So we got a lot of devices on this Wi-Fi right now. Anyway, but good question. That's where we're going to be in a minute. We can continue conversation there, bro. So if you're here, going over there, we good.
Congratulations for joining the community. We're waiting for you now.
Right.
Miriam asked the question. Wait. Oh, I had it on the screen the whole time? No. As a first wife, how was the news of another wife broken to and taken by you? It was broken to after I married Coach Nyla, letting her know I was married. I didn't do it before, didn't do any. I did not do it, and that's not best practices. Okay, so I'm gonna let you know that up front. It's not best to marry first necessarily and then tell afterwards. That's what I did. So there's 2-part question. One was for me, one is for her. I was broken too. I said, yep, I'm married somebody else, blah, blah, blah. So that's what that happened after it already happened. So that's after the fact. We don't encourage it. I've been there and done that. I just recently did some videos about walking through the fire. If you've already done that, you haven't told your wife. You got to man up, you have to do it, address it, and handle it. It's called Walk Through the Fire on our YouTube channel. So I told her after the fact, and again, we do not encourage it. It's not best practices. So that's that part. How was it taken by her? That's up to her to answer.
Oh no, I was bad. because I don't, you have to think about the space and time where you're in your life when certain things happen. And then you can, once you grow, you can look back on those things and go, I have tools now that I can use. And then you go, yeah, I could have used them there and there and there. And that's the beauty about growth. So sitting in the past, thinking and on over it, and keep talking about it, and it just didn't serve me. So did I handle it well? No, I didn't. But I knew, because the choice just takes a moment to go, okay, no, I'm not doing this no more. I'm going to just grow and work on me, because you can't do anything about what someone else did or didn't do, or an apology you didn't get, or, whatever trauma you need to heal from. You got to do something about that stuff. So I made a decision to say, okay, yeah, I was bad, but now what am I going to do? Now what? What am I going to do for Fatimah? What am I going to do about my personal life? Because as he's a part of it, he's not my soul. Like, I got to take care of my own soul and do my growth work. So I'm like, no. So now if he marries again, oh, honey, I got it. I got this all day.
And one of the challenges is that because I did the way I did by doing it after the fact, and the reason I say about not doing it after the fact is because you have unwritten rules and understandings. But if you don't voice them and you haven't spoken about it, because we encourage people to talk about polygyny. It doesn't matter if you intend to practice it, not practice it. There are unwritten expectations and rules. And I violated some of them rules, which is, all right, this is how I feel, women want security if she wants to feel secure. And I violated it because I was like, okay, well, she's logical. She knows this. She helps people already with polygyny and so on. So I came across these different assumptions and figured, okay, yeah, she's not necessarily gonna like it. I've known since I was 14, this and that. We'd be happy in our marriage. There's nothing wrong, all this type of stuff. But then it's like, yeah, but there's still some unwritten rules and conversations and communications that we didn't have, that we weren't being taught about with marriage. So I violated those, which is, again, part of the reason you talk about it beforehand, whether or not you plan on practicing it, period, because then there's a whole period that goes with rebuilding things and questioning things and building trust and all this stuff. You don't want that lost and dealt with in that situation. So again, we encourage men to do what you need to do as a man and live up to those expectations and rules. And I'm going to share something with you. I'm trying to get it so I can do it while I'm talking. So you see, this is very important to really understand. So I'm going to try to share it in a second. Preferably that answered your question, but
good question.
This is important. And this is what I call, as soon as I hit the share button, right? Come on. This is part of the shared marital identity. And you will see, and this is part of what we share with in our Polygyny Masterclass, because we don't just get on here to talk for the sake of talking. All right. We are educators. So as soon as I find this, where you at? There you go. All right. This is part of shared marital identity. So there are some concepts and some ideas that must be understood, and there's principles that shouldn't be violated. So I should be able, this is for Facebook and YouTube, our private community, where you at? I'll share this with y'all in a minute. So you will also be able to get it over here. All right, so those on Facebook and YouTube, you'll be able to see this. You see this screen? It says shared marital identity. So there's 3 circles that are here. On the bottom right, you see where it says woman's individual identity, okay? And then you see a bigger circle that says shared marital identity, and to the left it says men's individual identity. So what this basically is, you have this man, or you have this woman, you have this man. All right, they're their own spheres, basically. They had their own life, own likes, dislikes, all of this stuff before you met them. All right, but when you get married, you don't merge both of these and become one. No. You create a third shared marital identity. So when you become one, that means you lose yourself. Somebody has to lose themselves. It's not, oh, it's still 50-50. No, it's still 100-100. You still are your own individual people. All right, that we'll cut off as 29 minutes at a time. But your shared marital identity still includes your wife, your new wife title identity, and your husband's identity. And you also still have your other likes and dislikes outside of that as a private, personal individual, an autonomous human, if you will. So it's very important to understand that, because if your thing is just, well, I'm a wife, and then now all of a sudden it's polygyny, and you haven't talked about these other things, you could just break up and crack up, and that just be the end of your world. it's rare that a man is going to do that. You know, everything is my wife and my wife. Men don't even talk about their wives because that's their part of their jealousy. Their protective jealousy it's none of your business. You know, but once we understand our shared marital identity and that we should have things going on outside of the wife identity, outside of the husband identity for us, whether it's a night out, that's why they have like ladies' nights and, you know, men getting together and stuff like that to kick it and so on. You know, you still have to nurture that, if you will, and have your own identity. So it's not wrapped up or lost and you question yourself in it. So anyway, we go into a whole training on that. If you want deeper dive education, of course, go to polygamymasterclass.com or join our community where we are there discussing these things every day in the community. So Amina, I think she is in Egypt right now, if I'm not mistaken. She says, yes, of course, I think she's talking about comment. Yes, of course, share including responsibilities. Often mothers more in tune with multitasking when kids are small. Doesn't mean fatherhood is less. Indeed. All right. So, good day from Australia, Annette. Hey, Aussies representing. It's wintertime for y'all, know, right? A lot of people talking about it's hot, but I think it's winter for you guys down in Australia. All right. So Asia says, when and how do you start implementing designated time? I'm the second wife, and I have voiced how maybe it would be best for everyone if there was a schedule. How do you guys go about it? What's up?
We're getting the questions on IG.
Oh, look on IG. Yeah. Well, you're not gonna be able to get that one because you joined later. I tried that. You got to join when the question is there. Or she's gonna miss it.
You were not enough when he married a second wife.
All right. So the question we're gonna address first before that is,
feel like you were not enough. Okay, that's good.
When and how do you start implementing designated time? I'm the second wife, and I voiced how maybe it would be best for everyone if there was a schedule. How do you guys go about it? What we do, again, we're Muslims, so we practice the Islamic methodology, and the Islamic methodology says that there are two things that are measurables. There's money and there's time. Easily, both of these can be measured. All right, in a ledger or calendar, whatever it may be, it's pretty easy to do. So those two things must be dealt with, you know, basically fair, equal. So what we do, what I do, I choose a rotation that's 24 hours. So every 24 hours, I'm gonna see my family every single day. So like we together now and stuff like that. I know where I was last night was not far from here. That was Coach Fatimah's night, and I'll be here, Coach Nyla. So I switch every 24 hours. I know some brothers do 2 days at a time. Some brother might do a week. Other brother might do a month or so because somebody may be far in a different state or a different country. But yeah, the time is very important that be done in an equitable fashion, to be just in accordance with Islam, but also to be dealing with the sanity and the emotional needs of people. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's important to not only have the schedule, but have the discussion regarding it, but also knowing how to have the discussion. Yeah. All right. We are adamant that women are women and men are men. Men are not women. Women are not men. So we operate in a different fashion. So usually when you come into a man and the man shows his emotion, the emotion of hurt comes out as anger. That's what we go to. But if you come to us with this anger or in a certain fashion, very masculine, then you're not using wisdom to influence us in a proper fashion, in my opinion. Want to say something?
Yeah, well, my thing was the how was answered. The when part, and know is very important too, as an incoming wife, second wife, to know when should that start? When does it start? You know, and who makes that decision and how does that go? Type of thing. I can speak from a wife saying that, you know, like you said, the emotions and feelings and people are going to be people. As an incoming wife, you say, well, I'm married to you, then it should start when we got married. So, you know, where the times are equitable. But how does that, you know, speaking as a man, speaking to men, how that should play a part is timing when it comes to new marriages.
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Islamically, it's like this. When you marry a new wife, if she's a virgin, you get 7 days with her. That doesn't need to be made up. If she's not a virgin, whether it's a divorcee or what have you, then, or widow or whatnot, then you get 3 days. And then you begin counting after that. You begin measuring after that. It's ultimately up to the man how to schedule, whether it's a week or 2 days at a time, 3 days or whatever. But again, you know, if you look at the structure more like a business, you have this board of directors, right? And then you have this executive board or team. You want to hear from your executive team, what they suggest, what do they think, so on and so forth, what is best. And then you also make that decision. So as the man, you're the CEO, but the CEO is going to still need the president and the vice presidents and COOs and the C-suite to help run it in an effective manner. So get the feedback from your wives and their suggestions, but then ultimately make that decision. And that should happen as soon as possible. Now, there's your flexibility and all that stuff to it, but you can go check out the FIPA rules and all that for that. All right, so we got about 5 minutes on YouTube and Facebook, and then we're going to go to our private community. Now, we see you in the private community. We see y'all. Definitely appreciate you. Alvina says, how can you handle jealousy in a healthy way? Maybe she joined a little bit after we already addressed it. But how can you handle jealousy in a healthy way? And Annette, we see you probably on both formats. She said, love you guys. She's not poly or Muslim, but she loves the teaching and advice. It is so down to earth, practical, and supportive. Keep up the good work. You're amazing. We don't believe the hype, but we appreciate the kind words and the love. You know, it's important that you recognize when you invest in yourself, the return on investment is just on a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? It's orders of magnitude larger than whatever it is you would do. So Loretta, North Carolina, Assalamu alaikum to her favorite coach in the whole wide world, Evil Bodies. Like we know the sister, definitely appreciate you tuning in, catching us live, sis. It's all love. Okay, so she said over here, Annette, let you guys not a poly, just love your awesome advice is relevant to all people in our relationships. I'm telling you, see, people are like, oh, y'all just only talk about poly. You know what? We talk mainly about polygyny because polygyny does not get its proper airplay. Or you hear about polygyny, where polygyny is just this thing where they the guy's trying to have a threesome, or it's a bisexual thing, and it's just a sexual thing. All right. So if you saw, today's the second day of Eid. So if you saw a picture that we put out yesterday on the first day of Eid, you saw how many children with us? 11, 10? 10 of them are with us. So you see a picture with 13 of us, right? Now we're a total of 15. Us with all our children, we 15. All right, that's building family. And we invest in our children way on a higher level than what we do. Like for a few hours ago, we just got done watching this movie called Rise. Go to our little family event with each other. Yeah, Rise is super dope, right? It's really, really good. It's the Giannis story, him and his family and stuff like that. Now, mind you, Giannis is from where we from. The only thing that's really good about the city right now, Milwaukee Bucks. But so it was a real good movie. The kids really loved it and stuff like that. But it's a really, it's a motivating, inspiring movie. But that's our family day. We were able to go ahead and do that together. You know what I'm saying? And we invest time in them. Now, mind you, several hours ago, we had a family meeting because this is our family meeting day also. But it's also Eid, so it's a lot more flexibility. But this is what we baked in to our family culture and tradition, so that prayerfully for generations it will continue and grow. But since we practice polygyny and we didn't have polygyny advice or mentors or people that we can go to or more than one person talking about it at a time, you know, because this is all taboo and all this stuff. So we had to become that change and decide whether or not we just want to keep what we're doing that's working quiet, or do we want to empower other people? And we recognize there's power and there's many blessings in doing so. So again, we appreciate the kind of work, and it's not only benefiting poly, like you said, it's for our relationships. All right, so you said in Pakistan, polygyny is almost like a taboo, and most practicing Muslims, even scholars, are afraid to get into polygyny. Yeah, what a sad state. What a sad state. What we believe about what we consider the haqq. Salams from Nutley, New Jersey. Nutley, New Jersey representing. Never heard of it, but that's what's up. Pakistan. Okay, so Nazir says, let me see this question. All right, and then again, if y'all want to continue, because we're going to continue, then you got to catch us on in our private community, and you see that going across the screen. If you are on Facebook and YouTube, Miriam asks, "What is the best thing about polygyny?" Well, polygyny is simply a form of marriage. You know what I'm saying? So basically, all you're asking, what is the best thing about marriage? And I think that personally, I would say the best thing about marriage, including polygyny or monogamy, is that you can live fully. You can live fully. So you can do and achieve and all that type of stuff, but you don't have somebody to celebrate it with or be able to build with or leave a legacy and stuff with, me personally, I would feel empty. I remember reading a quote, and it was like, it's better to be in a beach with someone that you love, on a tent on the beach living with someone that you love, than in a mansion that's empty. You know, so for me, the best thing is you have someone that you're building actually family with. That's my thing. What y'all think the best thing is?
For me as a wife, because I'm not a husband, I learned that I could use that time where Coach Nazir is not at the house but very close to it, to work on me, to really spend time with my grown-up daughters, so they can, you know, we can have that girl talk or that time, and just more time to be a better Fatimah. And if I want to practice more ibadah and do that, and it's not, I couldn't see being in monogamy after being in polygyny. I'm either going to be in polygyny or I ain't going to be married. So if something happened to Coach Nazir, Allah forbid, that's, you know, I can't, because I'm so used to having that time for me and taking care of me and focusing on what I got to do and focusing on creating things for my children and connecting with my friends and whatever it is that I have more time to do. I love it, because I remember a time when I didn't have that. I just didn't have it when my daughters were younger and everybody's around my feet asking me for stuff. It was a different life. So where I am now in life, I need to be in polygyny. I have to, because it's something that I find fulfillment in as an individual, although I don't practice polygyny, but I'm in a family and married to a husband that does. It's just really that work that I needed to do on me. I have more time.
Yeah, for me, it's family, connection, and legacy. You know, it's regardless of what you know how you end up or whatever the case may be. It's like you have this family that has your back. You have this family that, when you're feeling away, you know, that remind you that they're there, you know, these type of things. So even when you're going, you have like reminders and you have motivators around you. So it's a beautiful thing when you look at it, you know, you look at the bigger picture of it all, the big picture of it all. So yeah, I think that's one of the main things for me.
And that's just it, y'all. It can be different things for different people. So it's my lesson is that as long as it's something that's moving you toward positivity, and we're not using it as this weapon to wield against one another, don't think that our answers have to match yours. As long as it is something that is not harmful in any way, shape, or form to somebody else. And some might say, well, the husband getting married is harmful to me. I don't like it for me, because I've heard that more than once. I don't like this for me. Well, you know what? When you understand and you're Muslim, you got to understand that you don't get an opinion on what that Allah has decreed for us individually. So if we say, well, these people aren't supposed to be here, because in my mind they were never supposed to be here, and then they here, you got to check your ego on that, because who told you that they would never be here? Nobody told you. It's an assumption that you made based off of the belief systems you put in place for your life, without understanding that, okay, there might be more to come. Inshallah, we don't know. We don't know anything. Allahu A'lam. We don't know. So we have to say inshallah this, inshallah that, and then hope for the best outcome, not the worst outcome. Start hoping for the best outcome. Instead of saying, I don't think it's gonna work, let's talk about how can it work, or what needs to be done in order for it. What is the best outcome for it to work? What can I do? One of the questions I always ask women is, if your husband is in polygyny, I would ask myself this regardless. Ask yourself, do you want your husband to win? Just ask, and let's see what the answer is.
If he wins, that means she got to lose.
Why would you say that? I was like, ask not what your husband can do, but ask what your husband can do.
All right, we got 2 minutes for real. Like, we got to be here too long on Facebook and YouTube.
But the women, you know, some of them said, I ain't never thought of that. Not even in monogamy. I'm like, dang, you know, let's ask though.
All right. we're gonna probably move through these questions pretty quickly, or we're gonna address them in our private community as well. But Asya says, just up below. How you doing? How to have a conversation about designated times is definitely difficult because I don't want to cross any lines or overstep. Here's the thing. If you're Muslim and you're practicing Muslim, then, and you care about your husband, there's a punishment attached to being unfair with the time. Okay. So you cannot, as a man, you have to, as a Muslim, and you practice in Islam, you got some rules and regulations. You just can't do as you please. Islam is the only scripture that came and restricted and regulated polygyny because we can be very oppressive, all right, to ourselves more than anything. So here's the thing though, how to have a conversation is not easy. So what we're actually in the process of doing, we're gonna make a series and we're looking at doing some different sketches and stuff like that in our private community about how to have a conversation. So you might see some acting skills from us. Yes, we're gonna be like, yo. Anyway, so well, seriously though, we're gonna do some sketches regarding how to have a conversation. You know, the proper way to do it, the ideal way to do it, the crazy way not to do it. So you actually have some examples. It's gonna be a little bit more of the edutational format, if that makes sense. But indeed, it's not overstepping any lines. What the lines, no matter who the person is, the respect for Islam is above any person. Any human, any scholar, any single person. The respect for Allah Ta'ala and His Messenger, Islam, is supreme above all. Nobody is above them, no matter what. Okay, so there's no obedience to the creation and disobedience to the Creator. That is a very well-known principle in Islam. So, did y'all add anything on that? Okay, Adil asked the question. He says, do you believe some marriages fail because it wasn't polygamous? And what other things they could have done to save it? No, I don't think marriages fail because they're not polygynous. I mean, you can be in a polygynous marriage and both marriages fail, one marriage doesn't, and so on. Marriages fail for a number of different reasons. You know what I'm saying? Not because, if it was polygynous, I would have made it. Like, how does the other person, you don't marry in polygyny to fix or have a marriage patch one up. That's not how it works. What other things they've done to save their marriage? If people are intentional working on their growth. See, here's the thing. How many of you use Windows 95 right now? Windows 98, possibly, perhaps? Or Windows 8? What about Windows Vista? Y'all remember Vista? Yeah. Right? Nobody? Like, no, for real? You know why? Because that's old software. That's old code. But let me ask you, when we update it, and it works better and it streams better and all that kind of, like, we're streaming right now for a time where I remember when I first got on internet in 95 and you had to dial up and it was horrendous and I was excited about it, paying AOL, right? But when was the last time you updated your software as a human? So if I ask you what are the last 5 books that you read on relationships and getting better or communicating or listening or leadership or finances, what are they in each area? So if I'm talking about 5 areas, what are the last 25 books? And reading right now is extremely easy because you can get an audio book. You can go on YouTube and see if that audio book, you only have to pay for it now. A lot of stuff is right on YouTube. You know, but YouTube is like the library. See, it's free for most of the stuff. Some stuff you got to pay, right? So if you haven't updated your software, it's highly likely you're headed towards failure. Why? Because there's an old wise saying that says, you know, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So people look up and be like, oh, what happened? You clearly wasn't paying attention. You haven't updated your software. You're running at Windows 95 right now, 2022, which is a joke. You know what I'm saying? So what can they do? They can focus on intentional growth and alignment, learning what their core values are and building themselves up. Because if you build yourself up, then the rest of your relationships around you become better, or you repel those who are toxic. Very important. Anyway, I'm going to the whole thing. Should we study this now? Okay, cool. I think
it's a question.
We're about to ride out.
IG just wrote. I think this one.
Revolution of Love, yeah, by Shadi Muhammad. We had that book too.
I met Ishmael. My brother's first wife doesn't want to accept the second wife because what she was working as before he got married. Example model. How do you help the first wife accept the second wife? Jazakallah.
It's not necessary for the first wife to accept the second wife because the second wife is not married to the first wife. All right. Ideally, it's good to have a cordial relationship and be courteous as a human being to another human, but you can't force anybody to be friends with anybody else. That's naive at best.
You don't do that in normal life.
You know, right? You don't tell your child, go. You want to make friends, yeah. You tell them to kind of make
friends.
friends or what have you, but you can't force that.
Here.
You know what I'm saying? And if she's judging her based upon whatever she did and stuff in the past, you know, that's her own personal situation, things that she would have to get through. But if a person is not working on growing, then it really doesn't matter. But is it necessary that they be friends? No, it's not. But that's the lowest level out there, period, because something is eventually going to happen to all of us. Every single relationship that you have, except the one with the creator, is going to end tragically. All right. You're going to die. We're going to die. It is what it is. We know this, right? You know, that's a fact of life, is actually death. And that reminder of our mortality should humble us. All right. To do good deeds, to do better, to forgive, to overlook things, and to try to make sure we're on a better path. Because ultimately, we know we only die once. You don't only live once. All right. So anyway, we're going to wrap up, go to our private community. If you want to continue the conversation, the link is already in the description, stuff like that, for Facebook and YouTube. We're going to disconnect IG, and we're going to talk directly with our private community where there are fewer people, so they get more of our time. We do appreciate it. Again, Eid Mubarak, everyone. Jazakumullahu khair. We look forward to you in our community, where we'll be streaming more and more for just our community without sharing on social media, just because we want to work with those who are serious versus curious. So if it's a barrier to go and sign up with your email address, then that's cool. We got hundreds of videos on Facebook or YouTube that you can benefit from. All right. There's no love lost. It's all good. But we're going to work with those and make a commitment to work and educate and go to the next level and communicate with each other. So it's not just us speaking on our end, but it's also our community members speaking with each other in a private, safe space that's anti-troll, because they get tired of the trolls and having to deal with comments and everything else. You know, that's life. But guess what? Like I said, you see the three of us right here, but we got a dozen that we got to take care of and handle and live life. So with that being said, if you appreciate us and what we do, join our community. You see what we got going on for you. We're going to continue the live cast there. We'll end Facebook and YouTube with GLC, but private community, we're about to get at you in a second. So
make sure you're growing intentionally,
loving fearlessly,
and connecting on a high level every single day, y'all. See you in the community. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.